Hey guys, Doug B here, your average axe-wielding hack. I was looking over the comments from the Speaker Impedance Curve video, and I realized, maybe it's time to make Speaker Impedance Curve video number 2. Let's get into it. So what were the comments? Well, Pete Mullen asked how I was able to find cab IRs that matched the Speaker Impedance Curve. We'll look into that in a minute. The second comment was from Catch22, who thought that my Speaker Impedance Curve test was done incorrectly. He suggested that I should try 1 amp, 1 cab, and 8 different Speaker Impedance Curves. Last Caress 83 agreed with that assessment. Fair enough, I can give that test a try too. I've put together another simple preset that can be used for both issues. It has a looper, drive, amp 1, amp 2, cab, and reverb blocks. It has 8 scenes, and the scene names are the same as the Speaker Impedance Curves that are used for that particular scene. The drive block uses the clone Chiron just to give it a little push. Both amp blocks will be using the band commander in all 4 channels of each block, giving us 8 amp channels total. The only difference will be the Speaker Impedance Curve. Amp 1 channel A will be used for scene 1, all the way through amp 2 channel D being used for scene 8. Now let's look at the list that I chose to test. Scene 1 is using the default 2x12 double verb. Scene 2 is using a 1x10 Princetone Silverface. Scene 3 is using a 1x12 Brit G12H75. Scene 4 is using a 1x15 vibrato verb. Now we switch to amp block 2 for scenes 5 through 8. Scene 5 is using a 2x10 vibrato Lux. Scene 6 is using a 4x10 Brit JM45. Scene 7 is using a 4x12 Citrus, and Scene 8 is using Loadbox LB-2 US. Since the default Speaker Impedance Curve for the band commander is the 2x12 double verb, we should try to find an IR that matches that Speaker Impedance Curve as closely as possible. Remember, the Speaker Impedance Curve basically tells the amp what type of cab is connected to it. So let's see if we can find a good match. Now the easiest way to do this is to go to the cab block and click on the picker. This brings up the start of the list of all the IRs on your system. Since it comes with over 2,000 IRs, you don't want to have to search through them manually. That would take like forever. However, there's a search dialog box up here in the upper right hand corner. So let's see what happens if we put in 2x12 double verb and then we hit enter. Look at there. We get back a list of 96 different 2x12 double verb IRs to try. Now, you may not have noticed this before, but right after the cab name, like 2x12 double verb, you'll find some other numbers and or letters. For instance, there is 2x12 double verb 57A all the way through 2x12 double verb 57 off axis at the beginning of this list. The 57 stands for a Shure SM57 mic. And A through off axis stands for the particular position where the mic was located when the IR was made. So there are 8 different variations of the 2x12 double verb mic'd with the Shure SM57. Now you'll also notice like 121, 160, 313, 421, and so on. Those are all microphone types. 121 stands for the Royer Labs R121. 160 is for the Bayer Dynamic M160. 313 is for the Shure KSM 313. 421 is for the Sennheiser MD 421, and so on. So there are a good dozen or so different mics used to create this set of IRs. When you know what type of mic was used, it makes it easier to select an IR. Now, one of the most common miking setups to use is a Shure SM57 and a Royer Labs R121. So you could pick a 57 IR and you could pick a 121 IR. Now I usually start with the A choice here and then go down the list to try to find the one that I like. But since this is a very simple test preset, we will just use Factory 1, number 957, a 2x12 double verb 57A. The reverb block is using the echo room type in channel A and is used for all 8 scenes. The only other change I made was I dropped the mix from 20% down to 15%. I recorded a loop in the looper. Now we'll go through the different scenes to see if we can hear any difference by using different speaker impedance curves. even though the differences are subtle, you can definitely hear the difference just using a different speaker impedance curve. So there you have it, guys. Speaker impedance curve testing part 2. Now, hopefully with this, that you saw how easy it is to find a matching IR to go with the speaker impedance curve. Just use that search function in the picker. Fairly easy. And then part 2 of this showed that just only changing the speaker impedance curve in a preset, while it doesn't make wildly drastic different changes in the sound quality, you can hear the differences going from speaker impedance curve to speaker impedance curve. It goes to show how important the speaker impedance curve is in your preset. Next Wednesday, we will be back at the factory, digging through those factory presets and letting the random number generator make a choice. Now, you don't want to miss that, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. All right, guys, we will see you next Wednesday. Have a great weekend.